Good morning, fight fans. I'm that boxing writer, Jeremy Harridges, and welcome to another edition of Boxing and Coffee. You can't really see the coffee. I am on the road again, not in my boxing happy place, but as always, I've got the fake background of my actual boxing studio behind me. Uh, Man, I wish I had more time to be in my studio, but unfortunately, I'm off running around doing all sorts of different things. But I still have my transparent coffee here as I'm drinking it with you right now. I am bringing in a new featured coffee that I will be debuting on Friday's Boxing and Coffee. Remember that I'm doing Boxing and Coffee on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Episodes typically will pop up somewhere between 9:30 and 10 a.m. Central Time. So make sure that you keep an eye out for that. Hey, I'm having fun doing these things, just having a chance to talk and vibe with you guys about what's going on in the world of boxing. I've had a lot of nice comments out there, making some nice connections, and it's always good to talk to people about boxing. In a short time, we've boosted up the numbers a little bit. We're 2 away from 100 right now, so please make sure to like and subscribe. Help me get to that 100 as we continue this boxing journey together. And today's focus, as you might have guessed it, is going to be the ongoing saga between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So Monday, it was the day after Tyson Fury put out the video saying, hey, we've got this deal set. It's going to be August 14th. It's going to be me and Anthony Joshua for the undisputed heavyweight title of the world. I make a video on Monday talking about that. It's my initial thoughts about Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Make the video, put it out there. Around 4 o'clock, I'm working on my boxing column after the fights. If you've never read it, check it out. This week's issue of After the Fight is about which boxing division is the best. I went with welterweights. I don't know what you guys think, but I went with welterweights. I said that there was a close contest between lightweight and welterweight, but I made the case for welterweight over the lightweights. What do you guys think? What is the best division in boxing? And make sure, go to fansided.com/boxing to check out my After the Fight column. It was inspired by super bantamweights over the weekend, particularly Brandon Figueroa, Luis Netti, who, again, I thought Netti could pull it out, but I thought it was going to be very close. And Figueroa blasted him out of there. Ironically, I actually just talked to Brandon Figueroa yesterday about his success over the weekend. How is he feeling? What's he think about Stephen Fulton coming up next? Has he already started planning for it? His thoughts about him, things that Fulton said to him, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. And either later on today or early tomorrow, I'll be dropping my video interview with Brandon Figueroa. And he was very kind to give me his time. And thank you again to him and the great people at Showtime that give me such great access to their fighters. So be on the lookout for that because that's coming up. But anyway, that's what drove that idea home. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Let me know in the comments below what you think is the best division in boxing. Again, I said welterweights. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it. But I veer off topic. We were talking about Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. So on Monday, I'm writing my column right around 4, and then my editor sends me a note saying, "Hey, you able to get this one?" And I look to the link, and sure enough, it's the news that Mark Kriegel has been notified that the arbitrator has ordered Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder to engage in a trilogy bout by September 15th. Whoa. I didn't see that one coming, but apparently some people did. What I mean by that, so the news comes out, this is what the judge has ordered, and unless you're a lawyer, it's very unclear what are the options now. What could happen? Is there a way that Tyson Fury and his team could somehow fight this? Is there a way that they can go against the arbitrator? And from everything that I've read, and from some very smart people and several lawyers that are involved with boxing that have written about this, the only real option to get Deontay Wilder out of the way now after the arbitrator's decision would be step aside money. Now, I'm just putting that option out there. I also put that option out there uh, whatever day in February Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had their last fight. It's February 22nd, 2020, because I was there at the fight, ringside in the arena, writing about it. And immediately after I posted my article on the recap, I did what should happen next and why we should see Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. I suggested that hey, Deontay, if you could work out a deal where you get step aside money and guaranteed winner, then it's a win-win. You get paid for doing nothing, and then you get the fight that you want and a crack at the undisputed champion without having to knock out two guys in order to get all the belts. More power to you. It made sense to me. Pandemic hit, things got twisted. Bob Arum, who was the sole source of everything here, basically said the deadline for a rematch is come and gone, so we're going elsewhere. You have to think in the back of your mind that Bob Arum wasn't fully confident that the Anthony Joshua fight was going to move forward because he had the new stadium in Las Vegas where the Raiders call their home, Las Vegas Raiders now. I still have to get used to that. He had that stadium on standby. I think it's Allegiant Stadium. Yes, it is Allegiant Stadium. So he had Allegiant Stadium reserved for July 24th. Now, I can't imagine he just popped out of the blue and did that. He must have had that planned in advance, that if I can't get this thing forward, if the arbitrator doesn't side with us, here's the backup plan. We're just going to go through Deontay Wilder. So the fact that he had that on standby tells you he wasn't fully confident that this thing was ever going to happen. Maybe that was his plan B, or maybe there was something deeper behind it. I don't want to play conspiracy theorist here, but maybe he was hoping that he could hype up public attention so much for an Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight that it would basically bully Deontay Wilder into accepting step aside money. Doesn't look like that's the case. Looks like we are going to have Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3. There's been a lot of chatter on social media. I know that Tyson Fury has now started putting out antagonizing messages on Instagram or Twitter or whatever towards Deontay Wilder. So it sure seems like he's got Deontay Wilder on the brain now. He's turned his attention there. In all of this, Deontay Wilder has been silent, not saying anything. But Malik Scott did come out with several messages across different social media platforms, basically saying that, hey, he's not taking step aside money. We're out for blood. We want revenge. So it's interesting how Malik Scott has now become the mouthpiece for Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder hasn't even spoken on it. Shelly Finkel hasn't said much. JD's hasn't said anything. It's Malik Scott doing the talking. It's Malik Scott in the gym working with Deontay Wilder, which I think is quite an interesting development. We always knew that Malik Scott was going to have a role in training Deontay Wilder, but the fact that we're only seeing Malik Scott makes me wonder what's going on there. I reached out to Malik Scott, who I've had some casual encounters with him and things like that, as far as, in training camps and things like that. And I like Malik a lot. He's a good dude. He's a very intelligent guy. I don't think people give him enough credit for his boxing IQ. They like to rip on the guy, saying, he wasn't the greatest boxer around. He had a successful boxing career. Anytime you can get into that picture where you're fighting the top guys, hey, you're doing something right. So don't criticize Malik Scott for his boxing career. I mean, the guy fought some of the best. Not all of us, not many people have made it to those heights. So give him credit for that. But talking to him about strategy and things of that nature, the dude knows his stuff. So I had a message out there to Malik saying, hey, I'd love to talk to you. Love to pick your brain about, where's all this stuff going. I haven't heard back yet. It's been about a day and a half. I don't know if I'm going to get a message back. And I think that also signals something interesting, because back in the day, access to Deontay Wilder for me wasn't a problem to get. I put a message out there, boom, come in and hang out. There were many times that I was in Deontay Wilder's training camps. Now, ever since the loss, things have been definitely more secretive. He hasn't been talking to the media. He's done a couple, drops on YouTube channels and things like that, but he really hasn't spoken in depth, other than maybe Brian Custer, I think he talked to, but hasn't really done a whole lot of interviews with the media. And maybe that's the smart move. And here I am, a media member that wants access, and I'm not getting it. But I can see the process of why that would be beneficial to Deontay Wilder. Case in point, last fight, right before the Tyson Fury bout, Deontay had so many media members into his camp. It was crazy. He was being pulled in every different direction. And again, any fighter that gives media members like me an opportunity to talk and their time, I'm always grateful. But I could see how it was too much. And the fact that it was coming in the gym constantly, I, I was worried that maybe that was pulling away from his focus on boxing. Case in point, I had a cover story for Inked magazine all laid out. Now, this was coming after the magazine wasn't going to come out until after the Wilder Fury fight. So if Wilder won, then he was going to be the cover, and it was going to be a big deal. Heavyweight champion of the world, big deal. Deontay Wilder cover. Well, he lost, so my cover story turned into something that was on like page 80 or something. It never got the attention because Deontay Wilder lost, and I understand that. But as I couldn't make it down there at the time, I had a lot going on, so I had to do a phone interview with Deontay Wilder. As I'm doing the phone interview with Deontay, first of all, they gave me a limit of like 15 minutes, and it's like, hey, I'm trying to stretch two stories out of this, one for the magazine and one for another outlet. So two stories I'm trying to get in 15 minutes with Deontay Wilder. I've never had that kind of limit before. Now his time has always been tight, but I've usually gotten, a couple days where I've been in camp with him, talking to him and things of that nature. So 15 minutes on the phone. And on top of that, he was taking photos for the story that I was working on while I was talking to him. So he was sitting there on the phone with me, answering questions while posing for photographs. So they had him doing the interview and the photo session for my outlet at the time that I was freelancing for, which was Inked magazine. I thought it was pretty good. Rebel with a Punch was the story, but he was doing double duty with both of those, and then he had to get off the phone. Trust me, it made trying to pull a story out of that, two stories out of that, difficult, but I did. The other one ran in Fansided, which I actually thought was the better of the two. You can check that out. But anyway, other than that, I mean, I saw the constant stream of media that was in there. Several people that are friends of mine that were down there doing different stories. So he's always been previously very giving to the media, but maybe, especially with that kind of attention, it was too much and it was taking his focus off boxing. So I think that's kind of where the whole idea is. No, let's have a more secured, more closed approach to who we let into this camp, because you're not hearing a whole lot. You're not seeing a whole lot of people down there. You're not seeing a lot of people being granted access to Deontay Wilder. And while I could find that frustrating a little bit, because I'd love to talk to him as in the old days. I mean, again, I've said all the stories before of going down there, getting my first tattoo, my only tattoo with Deontay Wilder, days in training camp with him. It doesn't seem like that's happening this time around. And I get it. I get it. If he's getting ready for Tyson Fury and he's really putting 100% into it, he doesn't want any distractions. And maybe that's a good thing this time around. Again, looking at it, I know a lot of people are going crazy over the videos that he and Malik have been putting out. He's showing, little slight variations of what he's done before. Show him punching to the body, show him shuffling his feet much better. He's not walking around. He's staying on the balls of his feet and moving much better around the ring. But to really implement change takes time. To change everything that you've done, and not everything, but to change old habits You have to practice things thousands and thousands of times in order to implement that. So it becomes rote memory to your body, right? Those changes don't take place overnight or over a month or over 2 months. You can't just say, hey, have a training camp and redo your footwork or redo your body punching. It takes time and pressure to change those things. And he's had the time, right? If you go from February 2020 to now, that's a lot of time. Has he been spending that time diligently trying to overcome past bad habits in the ring? I don't know that he has. I don't know that he hasn't, to be fair. Maybe he's been doing these things with Malik Scott since he lost. Do I doubt it? Yeah, I doubt it, but I don't know. I haven't been there. I haven't seen them. So maybe they have. Um, yeah, the stuff that he's doing in the ring in the short clips that we're getting are impressive. His footwork is better. He's not walking around. He is uh, you know, pivoting on his feet back and forth in a more effective manner. He is delivering combinations to the body. Those are pads. Can he do it in a fight? And you want to test it out against Tyson Fury? I don't know. That's where some practice would go a long way. A tune-up bout to practice some of the new tools that he's acquired would have gone a long way in prepping him to really try to take over Tyson Fury. I don't know if what he's been doing in the interim has been enough. I don't know if there's enough time to undo some of those bad habits with the footwork and combination punching and to the body. I don't know if that's enough time for the best trainer in the world to undo and reteach some of those things. I don't know, but it is intriguing. It is intriguing to see what could happen. And do I think that Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 will be a lucrative fight? Oh yeah. I mean, if you're talking about hyping things up, you know, if you would have just said, "Hey, let's have a rematch," a lot of people wouldn't have flocked to it. If it happened during the pandemic, you really wouldn't have had a live audience. The money wouldn't have been there. Now, all eyes are on this thing. Everybody's talking about it. We're talking about it right now, and there's more attention to it now than there would have been all the way back then. So maybe all of the talk with Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, maybe the way Aram and others were thinking about it is worst case scenario and it gets kicked out. Well, it just hypes up this fight with Deontay Wilder even more. Now it takes a fight that nobody wanted to see. And hey, people are going to be paying attention because they want to see what if Deontay Wilder actually gets revenge and beats Tyson Fury. Is it likely? No, probably not. Not after what we saw in the second fight, but now there is a what if. Now people have seen some more video on Deontay Wilder and what he's doing, and they're wondering. And there's mystery because he hasn't been talking to people, and there have been slight clips. I don't know who thought up all of this. I don't know whose brainchild this whole thing has been, but there's a certain level of genius in it. How to take a fight that nobody wants to see and suddenly make it a fight that's desirable, that has attention, that people care about. Maybe Deontay doesn't have much of a shot against Tyson Fury, but now there's an if. If he's changed, if Malik Scott can redo or rethink the way he approaches a fight. It's a big if, but people are asking about it. People are paying attention. And I guarantee you that if a fight on July 24th between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury happens, people are going to go. People are going to pay attention. Everybody wants to see an undisputed heavyweight champion. But having the threat of what if Deontay Wilder can pull off the victory and change the scenario so he's the one fighting Anthony Joshua, well, that's another interesting storyline. I know a lot of people are disappointed. A lot of people aren't happy, but a lot of people are talking. Much more people are talking about Deontay Wilder's name right now than they have been since he lost in February. And maybe that's what they wanted. There was no guarantee the arbitrator was going to side with them, but obviously there was a chance. And that chance has come into play. Does Deontay Wilder take step aside money? I don't think so at this point. I think that that ship is come and gone. So if we are betting on things to happen, the fight in Saudi Arabia looks done. Expect to see Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas on July 24th. It's not official. It's just something that's floated out there. But the odds of that happening are much better than Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua on August 14th in Saudi Arabia at this point. What changes could happen in a day or two? This thing has been crazy. So we'll talk more about this as facts come out. I'll let you know if a representative of Wilder's gets back to me. I'll let you know if Malik Scott gets back to me. Malik, if you ever catch this, which I hope you do, it'd be nice to talk to you. I'd even love to go on location with you and Deontay. Maybe we can get that cigar that we always talked about. Other than that, we've got a huge fight this weekend. We've got Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, undisputed championship fight. We will have a preview and prediction of that fight on Friday. I promise you, I'm not going to be talking about, I'm not going to promise that. I could talk to you about Fury versus Wilder because who knows what's going to happen between now and Friday. I could put out this video and an hour later, some big announcement gets made. So the focus is going to be on Taylor versus Ramirez, who I actually talked to yesterday as part of the press call. So I'll have something on that for you guys on Friday. But remember, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right around 9:30, 10 o'clock Central, Boxing and Coffee. I'll have one for you on Friday. Let me know your thoughts, your reactions to this news between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. What are you thinking? What do you think's going to happen? Hey, I've got 98 subscribers working on 100. One thing that I found is the people that have been watching these things, you guys know what you're talking about. You're smart. I'm meeting a lot of good boxing people out there. Like, subscribe, join the party. Till then, I'll see you next time. Cheers.